core self-development that needs to be done by anybody who wants to elevate their consciousness and to achieve your goals, especially if you're a woman or in an oppressed group. You need to do patriarchal deconditioning, because this is the conditioning that is holding you back, and it is the invisible force that is your glass ceiling. I talk about the 3 power structures that are man-made all the time. You must understand the CPR if you want to understand power dynamics and how power works. CPR is capitalism, patriarchy, and racism. They all go together. This is how oppression began. This is how different levels and hierarchies of privilege began. I'm teaching you the brief history first because this knowledge is going to give you a lot of understanding of why you feel the way you do, why you doubt yourself, and why you have a lot of sabotaging thoughts and beliefs that are holding you back from creating the work that you really desire to work, to excel in the area, in the industry that you really want to. Patriarchal conditioning is all about very rigid expectations. Depending on what group of minority or oppressed group you belong to, you have to look at what are the expectations of patriarchy that you do not meet. And that's where the gap is for you. The expectations of patriarchy is 100% tied to gender roles and expectations. Patriarchy promotes importance in male heirs. This is because patriarchy started when humans started agriculture, and the farm equipments were much easier to be handled by men who were physically stronger. Now, the one who has the most power is the one who controls the resources. Since men were the ones creating the resources, they're the ones who held all the power. This is also where patriarchy and capitalism go hand in hand, with land ownership, asset ownership, and generational asset growth. Male heirs became important. Due to that, women ownership became a normal part of human society. With patriarchy and capitalism, it also ties in racism. It is important to understand that racism began because of colonialism and slavery. Slaves provided manpower and free labor. Now, slavery already existed in every single ethnic group that you can think of. However, with colonialism and free labor, the whites recognized that POC, or those that we now call minority, were much greater in population than they were. Therefore, we have now false nomenclature such as minorities are actually the majority in the world's population. Now, racism had to be created to make sure that the majority, the slaves, and those who are now underprivileged under these white powerful men's rules, that they're not gonna team up and rebel against them. So in Western society, the rich white men had to train the poor whites to make them fear these minorities or people of color, telling them that their jobs will be taken by them to keep them disempowered. If you're a woman, a person that we call minority, or you belong in a minority group like LGBTQ community, you do not fit the standards of what patriarchy wants from you. You were socialized to realize that you do not have equal power to those who have the most privilege in this world. This creates an invisible block within you to devalue yourself, to see yourself as less capable. Pair that with trauma and dysfunctional family dynamics, then that reinforces the debilitating mindset even more so. This is the invisible block that's holding you back. This is the glass ceiling. You go to a workplace because most of you had jobs, even if you may be entrepreneurs now or in some creative venture. It was very clear to you how much privilege and entitlement you're allowed to have based on what you look like, how you behave, and not only that, what your family history have been. Yes, your origins have everything to do with your core self-esteem, how you see yourself, and how you feel you deserve to be treated. When you didn't meet the overall expectation of what patriarchy consider as valuable and good, you don't feel good enough. And to cope with that, you have created a series of behaviors, mental patterns, and reactions to find the best way to survive in this world, to gather the resources to the best of your abilities to be safe. This is your glass ceiling, and this is what you have to dismantle by deconditioning yourself of the same patriarchal expectations that have been programmed into you for you to see yourself with such little value and to expect so little from the world. This is the core of every story of experiencing narcissistic or supremacy abuse. Disempowerment is the core reason behind your fear of failure, your fear of success, playing small, acting small. Traumatized parents due to patriarchal expectations and abuse, also raising traumatized children, having disempowering body languages and habits, lack of social elegance and skills, what we call executive presence. What this work does is it sheds the conditioning and brings out the leader in you, the one who commands, empowers, uplifts, and creates.